Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 2025. There we go. I am here with Hammer Live. Of course, I am the founder of Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. You can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Like my man Ron Siegel, today we celebrate National Moldy Cheese Day. Are you talking about blue cheese? I do like me some blue cheese. What other moldy cheeses are there? Or is there a lot of cheese that's moldy? I don't know. But anyway, if you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching the replay, just give me hashtag replay in the comments, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. Let me know that you're here. Remember, if you'd like a quick text message alert that we're going live with the links so you don't miss any of the show, you can get that at hmmr.io/reminder. You could sign up. We don't do anything nefarious with your cell phone number, but if you would like to sign up for that, check it out. If you would like, you can also use this cool QR code over here, and you can get signed up for that as well. So otherwise, I mean, it is a happy, lovely Thursday, October 9th, and there's just not a lot we're going to be talking about today. It's kind of the same old when we get into things. So let's go ahead and say hi to the live folks, and then we'll get started. Hold on a minute. There we go. All right. So Sean Segloff, good morning, sir. Brandy Brickler, great to have you here. Robert Bashir said, isn't all cheese mold? I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. Especially there's soft cheeses and hard cheeses and cheeses that have lactose and cheeses that don't. And good morning, Deb Dickinson, Vicky McSweeney, Tiffany Teal, Leroy Romero. Great to have all of you here. Yasmin Martin, good morning. So thank you, sir. Sean Segaloff saying the text alerts are the best $7 you can spend in the business. Appreciate you, sir. All right, so let's get to the amazing stuff. Good morning, Will Patterson. Nicole Semarat, good morning. I got to pick up people from the airport today. It is my son's wedding is this weekend, so I got to pick up. I got family and friends coming in today. That a lot of them rented cars. Well, I think we rented out most of the cars in the airport, but there are a few that need a lift. So I will be leaving in a few hours and doing a couple airport runs, doing a Sam's Club run, and with our venue, we provide a lot of the stuff. Plus, we're doing a rehearsal dinner, which is more like a barbecue. Thank you, Nicole, and stuff. You're congratulating me on basically just spending lots of money for a big party. That's all it really is to me. I'm not getting married, but I am happy that they're. So anyway, if you take a look this morning, let's go ahead. Let me pull up Presentify. We'll get into where we're at this morning. Unfortunately, take a look here. Mortgage-backed securities, where were they yesterday? When pricing came out yesterday, they were around 101. We're right around 101. We're down about 15, 16 basis points from when pricing came out yesterday. You see that that's all right here. Everything in front of this dotted line right there. Unfortunately, not a great start to the day. We ended yesterday pretty nicely. Just kind of slipped through. This is just normal trading chatter. I mean, we're majoring in the minors right now when we look at the stuff. The 10-year Treasury yield 4.15. Yesterday it ended the day at 4.12. The day before that it ended at 4.12. The day before that was 4.15. So we're like right up here in that same realm. Remember, 4.18 is what we're watching right here to see if that's our high point for that. But when you look, there's just not much change. 6.36 versus 6.38 versus 6.34 versus 6.36. I mean, we're talking about a few basis points in actual pricing. Rates themselves have been really, really stable since the last Fed meeting. Expectations continue to remain as they were, that the Fed is going to cut rates, at the next meeting. We'll talk about the Fed meeting minutes that came out yesterday from the last Fed meeting. And then in December, markets are still pricing in, an 80% chance that we're going to see another rate cut. So markets are basically pricing in 2 rate cuts. Mortgage rates that you're looking at right here, basically pricing in 2 rate cuts. And the only way we would see rates move higher is if markets give up on the idea that we're going to get those cuts. The only way you're going to see rates move lower is if we had some kind of economic event that scared the daylights out of it and we started talking recession. None of that is likely. So rates are very likely to remain stable, kind of where we're at today. Reprice risk on the day is low. I would cautiously float to start the day and see if we think, if we see any kind of improvement here. But remember, this is the same behavior. You see it right here. Oops. There it is. There we go. You see it right here on the Japanese candlestick chart. We improved, and then Friday we lost ground. And then this week we kind of improved, and today's Thursday, and we lost ground. Not really in all of this are you seeing much movement, though. Things are really, they haven't moved much. The high point for bonds was 101.09. The low point for bonds was 100.81. Right now we're at 100.86. So, you're talking a 15 basis point, or what was this, 101.09? So you're talking a 23 basis point window. I mean, that's so small. We're really not seeing any big moves, and we're not likely to. Government shutdown, of course, still the big thing. And as far as anything else that are in the headlines, I mean, I'll throw that up here. Let's see, captions. Taking a look at the headlines. I mean, hopefully they do release the hostages. I think there's 20. They say there's 20 living hostages. This whole thing in the Middle East with Gaza and Israel is 2 years old. These hostages have been held for 2 years. That's terrible. Humans, we sit and we worry about our world here in America. Most of us have just such a wonderful life. Like, could you just 2 years? Just let that sink in. Otherwise, going through the rest of this stuff, there really wasn't much of anything to comment on. It's been so quiet. As far as the Fed meeting minutes from last meeting, it didn't really say anything that wasn't already expected. As we kind of go down, most of the Fed officials said it would likely be appropriate to ease policy further over the remainder of the year. There were a few that thought a rate cut weren't necessary at all. And then, of course, Fed Governor Stephen Moran, who was recently appointed and sworn in, he dissented, looking for that larger half-point cut that was never, ever, ever going to happen on this one. So that was just nothing that we didn't know already. And what was interesting about this article, this is an article from Timoros, and what it does say is that with no data, it's likely that the Fed members maintain kind of that same idea that we had. Remember, next week on the 15th, the middle of the week, we would be getting the inflation data, the CPI inflation data. If this whole shutdown continues through then, we won't get that. We didn't get the last jobs data report. So rates are going to stay really. Robert Bashir said disconnected and reconnected. All right. Did I hear news about D.R. Horton? Which part in particular? Is this the part where, let's see, news? They were sued over alleged hidden costs because they weren't escrowing properly. Yeah. Does it matter? No. Is it going to change anything? No. You guys have always known this. I mean, this isn't even really the big problem with builders. We know the big problem with builders is the fact that they are, able to use the profit from the home and, force people to use their mortgage company. But I could argue on how much that actually hurts the consumer, depending on which ones are actually, raising the price to do that. But otherwise, this one says they were hiding the true cost of FHA loans. I'm not a big fan of MPA. I think it's a garbage site. Let's see. Misled buyers by understating monthly costs, but that's the same thing. It was they were understating the cost of the escrows. A lot of times they were just doing taxes based on the lot prices and not on a calculation of what the home would be assessed at for full tax value. Sloppy work, and consumers don't know the difference. I mean, you can't really. It's hard to blame consumers on this. What do you guys think? Consumers don't know this. If I wasn't in the industry, I wouldn't know to know this. This is one of those things that you don't know to know. You don't know to ask. You don't know to check into. So yeah, so they were just screwing with the property taxes. Frankie Santiago monthly payment increased from 2,100 to 3,100. But you know what this would show me? Like, how did they get to an escrow payment that's almost $1,000 more a month? That's $12,000. What state is that in? That property taxes or insurance are coming out to $12K. That's what I want to know, because this really, they went from 2,600 to 3,400. So you're talking there also, that's $800 right there. So that looks like a lot of taxes as well, which is really shows our broken system. Deb said it's a deceptive practice. Yeah. I mean, it absolutely is, but it's something that's happened. I mean, it's not even, this is D.R. Horton that it's coming home to roost for, but I remember going up against other originators and they would absolutely, lowball that. The LE is supposed to help eliminate that, but I mean, because remember with the old days, the good faith estimate, it was really a big deal, especially like when someone would refinance or when someone was buying and in New Jersey, taxes are due and we would calculate that they'd have to bring a certain amount to closing to have enough in the escrow account. And then other companies wouldn't do that. And then people would argue with you that you were charging more. And Texas, Brandy and Mortgage Dog say Texas has, New Jersey definitely has it. Again, I was from Jersey for 30 years, so I know the taxes there. Ron Siegel says, I heard an analyst yesterday discuss November 7th will be a big date for the shutdown to have a serious effect on markets if it lasts that long. His assertion is if we don't get a jobs report, it'll have a big impact on corporate earnings, thus the market impact. I could see that. I could see more of that. When it comes to the shutdown, the big thing right now when it comes to the shutdown is let's see, I'm looking to see if it was in Wall Street Journal or if it's over in the Bloomberg side, that they were talking about that it's the flight delays. Here it is. So travel disruptions. Again, I have family coming in, so this is annoying. And I try not to get too political on this, but both sides are to blame. It's easy to blame the Democrats on this one and say that they're trying to squeeze in something and it has nothing to do with the budget. But that's how the government always does it. So, and they're all to blame, and they're all, whatever. Trump saying that people are not going to get paid and trying to create that fear, that's a scumbag move too. All of this is just broken. And I think that if you're going to claim somebody is essential, I think that they should do something where they get paid, but they don't want to. They want to create that pressure. So that's the only reason, because that they could turn around and say that even if you're going to tell somebody that they have to work, we could absolutely pass something that says that they're going to get paid while they work. But then it wouldn't have the same effect and it wouldn't do what they all wanted to do and create this drama. More drama over there in California. Thankfully, I don't have a lot of people come from California, none from Burbank. But this affects everything. It's a mess. And the politicians are pieces of shit. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. These are real people that have real problems, and they don't care. There's no politician. There's nobody in Congress that's living hand to mouth. Remember when AOC was first getting in and she was broke and she was living stiff. She was a working stiff bartender and she got into Congress and, her rags to riches story. She didn't have nice clothes and she couldn't afford to live in Washington, D.C. Yeah, that's not her problem now. She's got plenty of money. $170,000 a year is certainly, not a pauper salary, plus what they're really making. And we all know that they're making money on the side on stuff. So all of this. Marianne, good morning, my friend. Why are you watching? I pick up Marianne from the airport today. Hi, Marianne. I will see you around 2:00, my friend. And even in lower tax states, the shortfall will jacket higher if they don't have the cash. Yeah, I mean, we know that that's a thing. and they should come down on them for that. So, but is it just Dr. Horton? No, it's not just Dr. Horton, not by any means. I'm sure that this is happening. I'm sure there's mortgage companies that still have this happen too. So they just didn't get into that. The Trump comment is only part of the story. He clarified it later in the day, saying Menzies gives him the authority to permanently eliminate non-essential workers. Yeah, you defend Trump more than I do, my friend. I'm just sick of his antics, but it's how he does business. I just don't like to do things that way. I don't like that anybody. I don't think this should have ever been used for that. But that's not my opinions on things. We're not going to get into that. Let's just focus on the mortgage side of this. Here's the thing that we've talked about, y'all. We're not going to see mortgage rates move until there's a big thing. When we do see this budget impasse, will probably last for at least another couple weeks. And during that time, we're not going to see rates move up. So you don't have to worry too much, but you're also not going to see a lot of improvement. So it's all about risk management and, anything near term. I would today, if it's closing in the next couple of weeks, see if we get any kind of recovery on this. If you don't get our text alerts to know, sign up for those. I'll throw the link up on the screen. These are text alerts. So we'll send out an alert at 10 a.m. with a price. If we see things getting worse, we'll of course send out an alert. But at the end of the day, if things improve, if they don't improve, we could lock. But right now we're watching. We could move a little bit lower before we get down into the, into this bottom of the range. Our range is right here. And basically we could argue that the range is all the way up here, but I would really put the range right about here. And I would say this is, our range that we're in, and it's not much. So hopefully your flight to Nashville in a few weeks doesn't have any issues from the shutdown. Hopefully. And one of the things that kind of made sense to me is that people, when they don't have a paycheck coming in, they can't pay things like they can't pay daycare. They can't. So they're forced to stay home for those kinds of things. I think it's more so that than just because they're not supposed to do any sit outs or walkouts or, striking, if you will. It's a form of striking in my mind. They're not supposed to do that. But, when you're hitting financial problems. So Ron said, guaranteed the budget impasse will end before Thanksgiving. Yeah, but dude, that's 6 weeks away. Did Slime in DC want to go home and they don't care about us? Yeah, that's it. That's all right. I don't care about your spelling. I didn't put it up on the screen. So, all right, my friends. Well, that's it. I managed to sit and ramble for 18 minutes. There really ain't much else to talk about today. So hope you all have a fantastic day. I will be on in the morning as usual, although there won't be much to talk about then either. But we'll see. We get consumer sentiment tomorrow, but that'll be after the show. So, all right. Well, have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.